Hi Audacious Kids! I love the Armour of God series. Those soldiers don't know what's going on. Imagine being on guard without any armour on. That is crazy. The piece of the Armour of God that we're talking about today is the breastplate of righteousness. And you saw what happened to Barbados when he didn't have his on. Bit risky, isn't it? Well, I don't know what you think about when you think about righteousness, because obviously we're not all going to walk around with a metal sheet on our front every day. You'd never be able to go on your bike with that on, would you? But we're talking about righteousness, which is doing the right thing. And when we don't do the right thing, it can get us in trouble. Now, I may have told you this story before, but there was a time when I really wanted to go to a party, okay? And I thought, if I do the dishes and if I offer to vacuum my mum's car and I do as much good things as I can, then my mum is going to let me go to the party. And so I did the dishes and I vacuumed the car and I paid my mum a compliment and I was like, Mum, do you think that I can go to this party at the weekend? I know that it means staying out late, but it'll be awesome and I'll do the dishes again next week. Can I go to the party? And she said no. And I was like, oh, it's not fair. I want to go to my friend's house. They're having a sleepover. Please, please. And I was so fed up that I couldn't go that I stomped off upstairs to my bedroom and sulked. And then I thought, oh, this is rubbish. And so I stomped across the landing in my house and I went to my brother's bedroom just to tell them how mean my mum was. And so my brothers were there playing with the Lego and I was like, oh, it's not fair. Mum won't let me go to the party. And they were looking at me funny. And I was like, what? She's a cow. And I called my mum a cow to my brothers. And I thought that they would laugh because it's a little bit silly. But I know it was very rude and disrespectful about my mum. But they didn't laugh. They just went. And I was like, no, what? She is. And then my brother went. And I turned around. And my mum was stood at the door. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't know. Oh no. And I got really upset because I knew that I'd really upset my mum. And she had come upstairs to tell me that she had made some arrangements so that I could go to the party. But then my bad attitude, my disrespect and my dishonour to my mum meant that I did not go to the party. In fact, I went straight to my bed and I was in trouble. And funnily enough, my life was affected because I didn't live right. Now, we may know from the Bible that God gives us the 10 Commandments, doesn't he? If you know from the Bible, he gives us 10 rules of the way to live our life. A little bit like a breastplate, doesn't it? It keeps us safe. But what's funny is that these rules, okay, they're not here to trap us or be boring or tell us what we can't do. They are exactly like a breastplate of righteousness. They protect us. Now, in our body, in our chest here, you've got your heart, your lungs, and some very important organs to keep your life, your body alive. And so this protection right here is to keep us safe. And that's exactly like the 10 Commandments. It's to keep our lives safe. Now, if I'd have followed the 10 Commandments and not dishonoured my parent and been incredibly rude, then my life would have been a lot better, wouldn't it? Now, Jesus summed it all up in Matthew 22, where he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul and mind. And that's the most important commandment. And the second commandment is love your neighbour as yourself, which I think is an amazing way of just summing up how to live our life so that we can protect ourselves from sin and messing up. But even when we do mess up, God is faithful to forgive us. 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sins, he is faithful to forgive us. We can trust God. He does what is right. He will make us clean from all the wrong things we've done. So when we're suiting up in our armour for this battle that's going on for our life, there's almost 2 breastplates that you can wear, because there's the breastplate of righteousness when we do our best to live right, follow God's rules, and when we do that, we protect ourselves. But what's amazing is that even when we mess up, God still wants to protect us. Because it says that even though we're not perfect, Jesus can be our righteousness for us. In 2 Corinthians 5:21, we can put on Jesus' righteousness. So when the devil comes to accuse us and say that we are not good enough, when God and sin separates us from him, we can put on the righteousness of Jesus, and that protects us, which is amazing. So let me encourage you, Audacious Kids. Let's put on the breastplate of righteousness. Let's do our best to live right and live God's way. But know that the righteousness of Jesus is also there to protect us, so we can stand firm together and live an amazing life for God.